What is a literature review? When we write scientific papers and do research studies, one of the early stages is conducting a literature review. And the literature review serves three primary purposes. One, once you generate a research question, you want to know if it's original. There's not much point running a research study that perfectly replicates a previous study. Now, with that being said, you could argue that replication is good for science, but generally you want to know if your research question is original. Second, when you design your study and you tweak your research question, you formulate hypotheses, you want to frame your work relative to what has been done before. You want to be able to say, well, these people did this, and here is how my study fits into that. So for example, if you wanted to see how exercise impacts your heart rate, that's been done before, but there might be something novel you can do about that. A different form of exercise or a different way of measuring heart rate. And to frame your study, what I mean is you want to situate it or describe what you're doing relative to everything else that's been done before. And then last but not least, you want to provide evidence supporting the statements that you make. When you write a research paper, you're not writing an opinion piece. You're drawing conclusions based on data that you have. So I'll give you an example. This is a paper I published recently with some colleagues of mine, and we made some claims. We used a mobile EEG system to measure brain performance, and we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was original. And also, when we made claims in the paper, we wanted to make sure that those claims were grounded in science. Here's an example of what I mean by this. If you look at the first sentence, it isn't a citation. Additionally, researchers have also observed relationships between cognitive fatigue and increased alpha power. So EEG oscillations between 8 and 12 hertz. And you'll see a lot of citations because we want, this claim that there is a relationship between cognitive fatigue and increased alpha power. Is that just my opinion, or is that grounded in science or grounded in data? And those papers that I'm citing right there, they all show this relationship. So it supports my claim. One way to think about this is in court, if you were a lawyer and you were prosecuting a case, you can't just say this person's guilty. You have to have the evidence to make that claim. So one of the key parts of the literature review is gathering all of this background evidence. So when I write my paper, the claims I make are well supported by previous scientific literature.